Cinesmack contains spoilers of the spoiling type. If you don't want your spoilers spoiled, please turn back now. Otherwise, enjoy the show!
Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds. Lawrence?
Ladies and gentlemen! Welcome to the main event! This is Cinesmack! And the winner is...
Hello, Cinesmacketeers, and welcome to bout number 74 of the podcast about films by filmmakers. I am your host, Mike Keeler. Joining me tonight is our panel of award-winning judges. First, writer, actor, and director, Kyle Fine.
Anybody got any dimes? Someone's going to go back a shitload of dimes.
I think you watched the wrong movie.
Yeah, I think we know
That
what his
movie
recommendation
was
is going to be.
great.
It is fantastic. Second, filmmaker and owner of Cheshire Moon Films, Mr. Tom Haggis.
Yeah! Round cowboy!
Oh, man, that just wasn't ready for that.
Yikes!
I was not ready for
I
that.
think that peaked.
Oh, did I peek?
Yeah.
God dang it. I even was like 2 feet back.
Third, writer, actor, and producer, Mr. Tosh Dillinger.
I'm currently on my white steed. No, it's not Gabe. It's Snowball.
Wow.
doing this podcast while riding the trail in the Australian outback.
All right.
Your signal is great.
Yeah. It's
You're an
impressive.
actor, Tosh?
Yes. I'm appearing in some award-winning shorts.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
Fourth,
All right.
Don't be
Fourth,
jealous. I'm not riding you. Jeez.
filmmaker and owner of
I am.
One Genome Short Productions, Mr. Gabriel Rowald.
Yeehaw.
Okay, Gabe.
Let's get it
I mean, if you're gonna do something, you gotta go all out. I mean,
I don't want to peek. Too early.
Gabe, how about this? Like, yeah.
all right. Well,
Kind of like, well, I don't remember that. What was the TV show? Yeah, Rawhide.
Rawhide.
Yep.
Oh boy. All right. Well, we are a month late, so sorry about that, everyone. We kind of had to take a little spring break. A lot of us have been pretty busy with things, and me in particular. My wife and I welcomed our son into the world on March 26th. So I've been busy with that. Yeah.
Yay.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. I've been busy with that, and we were trying to get together, and we just couldn't. So we decided to take a month off. Gabe went to Cancun. Tosh went to Australia to ride Snowball. Isn't that the name of the horse, right? Snowball?
That's absolutely Snowball.
Right. Tom did his taxes, and Kyle watched Blazing Saddles every day.
6 times.
So, without further ado, let's get this show on the road.
Ladies and gentlemen, ranchers and wrestlers, welcome to the main event. Tonight, 2 heavy-hitting honchos throw hands to find out who is the rootinest and who is the tootinest. In the first corner, from 2007, written by Halstead Wells and directed by James Mangold, starring Russell Crowe, Christian Bale, and Ben Foster. 310 to Yuma. In the second corner, from 2005, written by Nick Cave and directed by John Hillcoat, starring Ray Winstone, Guy Pearce, The Proposition!
All right. Westerns, one of my favorite genres. We've actually done some pretty good Westerns on this show. I was going through trying to find recommendations, and just about every one that I wanted to recommend we'd already talked about. So my list is kind of getting short. I can go back to some of the 50s and 60s ones, but I got to find a good reason for it. Let's move on to our first round, which is writing.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the story, which was it's a short story written by the great Elmer Leonard, who has done, I think his source material maybe after the Bible might be the most used in movies, I think. But I love Elmer Leonard, and so after watching this, I thought I would go and get the short story and read it. So I did that this afternoon, and it's a really different story, as you often find when you go back and find the story. So this 310 to Yuma short story actually begins with them arriving at the hotel in contention, and there's a short scene in there, and then it's them going to the train. And they both make it. I'm going to run it for you, but they both make it on the train okay, and Charlie Prince gets shot. And then so that with that discrepancy, I went and I checked out the plot of the 57 version of this, and the 57 version is much more like this, which made me think that the 2007 310 to Yuma is really more of a remake of the movie than drawing back on the original source material, because they both departed from the book in the same ways with the elongated travel to contention. The problem I have with the story of 310 to Yuma happens right at the end, and I mean I was really into it. First of all, I watched the Proposition first, and then 310 to Yuma, and I was like, oh my god, I think 310 to Yuma might actually be better than the Proposition. This has a really stellar finish, and it would be really hard to fuck this up. And then James Mangold and the writers went and fucked it up, and I have absolutely no idea. The ending doesn't make any damn sense. I don't understand why Ben would let Dan get shot. I mean, if his followers were that loyal to him, he could have called them off. It didn't make any damn sense how it ended. And then Ben, for some reason, shooting his own guys, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? It was, I mean, in a fit of rage, if he was that passionate about Dan and that connected to him, he would have stopped him getting shot in the first place. Don't you think? Anyway, Proposition I thought was a much better story, and it was just so tense throughout, and I thought it was it had me more on the edge of my seat about where the story was going. I turned to my wife like 90 minutes into it, and I said, I have absolutely no idea how this is going to end. And those are my favorite movies. I think those are the best stories to tell. 310 to Yuma, I'm like, well, this can end three different ways. But the Proposition just laid out a ton of things. And my wife and I actually stopped and paused the movie and placed bets on which character we thought had a shot of making it out alive. So she had money on Ray Winston, and I had money on Emily Watson. So we both won. So
what were the odds?
What were the odds?
Yeah,
we went even. We went even on both of them. We really thought Guy Pearce had a really good shot of taking it too, but and Mikey Burns, he was gone. I think 10 minutes into the movie, we thought he wasn't going to make it. Especially when the doctor's like, "I did everything I can. There's not much." I was like, "Well, Mikey's dead." So anyway. Yep. I don't know what you guys thought, but I thought the Proposition from beginning to end, in terms of beginning, middle, end, was a much more complete story than 310 to Yuma, especially when you put into how they finished up.
How did the new 310 to Yuma compare to the 57 one as far as the ending?
In the 57 ending, they both make it on the train alive, and
so it's similar to the story. Similar to the story,
in that. There's a showdown on the what they call the Ramada, those wooden sidewalks that they had in the Old West in front of all the stores.
Yep.
In the book, where Charlie comes out and says get down, and then they both fire their guns, and Charlie gets shot. And I'm gonna call them Dan and Ben. They have different names in the book, but then they both get on the train with the outlaws in pursuit, and they both make it on the train safe and sound. So. And then in the 57, so the 57 and the short story, they both make it out alive. Apparently that wasn't good enough for 2007 when we were just fucking killing everybody. So,
right. Well, I find it interesting that that the proposition was written by Nick Cave, who I know from his music, not necessarily from writing and filmmaking and acting and those kinds of things. And I thought it was also very brilliantly written. One of the things that I remember, I saw it when it originally came out, and then I watched it again for the podcast. And one of the things that I remember is, and I don't remember the characters' names right off the top of my head. Let me see. What was his brother's character's name?
Arthur.
Was it Arthur? I remember. Yeah, Mike. Arthur. That's right. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I remember Arthur's character being more compelling, more interesting, more of a conundrum the first time I watched it, because they built him up as being this like extremely violent person, and you almost think of him as subhuman and primitive, but I really like how he's not. He's actually kind of a very intellectual and very interesting character. And I remember the first time I saw that, being struck by that a little bit more than the second time. The second time I saw it, I felt like it was a little bit more watered down than I remembered. That he quotes a few things that you're like, oh well, would a vicious killer really know these things? But there wasn't much more substance after that. But even so, I like that kind of. It's not black and white as far as the characters. Even Guy Pearce's character, his brother Charlie, is not black and white. He's shades of gray. He's kind of doing a good thing, but he's also kind of doing terrible things all at the same time. And that's one of the things I really liked about the writing for the proposition. It's not just black and white. Here's the good guy. Here's the bad guy, and here we go.
Yeah, Nick Cave also, for me, was really interested to see he wrote this. I looked up on IMDb, and apparently he puts his hands in a lot of different pies as far as getting stuff done in the entertainment industry. I agree with pretty much everything you guys are saying. 310 to Yuma to me felt much more like a written for like a Hollywood blockbuster, the proposition being a much more kind of tense and gritty story. I think the proposition was let down a little bit in places by the long gaps between things, but I like the duality in the story. What you're talking about being, I think both have good characters that are working on both sides of black and white and a little bit in the gray. But the thing for me, for 310 to Yuma, that struck out from the writing was just the amount of movie tropes that are used over and over and over again in it. And I just compiled a real small list. So we have a bad guy who has an interesting hobby, watching birds. He has a thing for the Bible, which is very common. He releases his good-looking bad guy pollen to attract Gretchen Mol. When they're sitting at the dinner table, all of a sudden he's like a hardened killer, and she's taking an interest in him. And apparently it doesn't matter if you get shot in the Old West, because even if you're old-ass Henry Fonda getting shot in the gut, you're going to be up and walking in 10 minutes. So that's one thing I don't really like about Westerns is the amount of bullets people can take before they die. But I assume Mike likes it because that's much like John Woo films.
Wow. Just thrown out there.
Zing!
Wow. Man.
Although I've never seen an old man. Do old men get shot a lot in those movies? Because I swear to God, I thought Henry Fonda's dead. He just got shot point blank in the gut. Nope, he's walking an hour later.
You mean Peter Fonda?
Like, whatever. One of the Jane Fonda. When Jane Fonda gets shot by Russell Crowe.
When old man Jane Fonda.
Can you tell I watched these movies a month ago? I can't remember.
Yeah, I know.
I agree with Tom about the proposition where and Gabe can attest to this, that I usually know how a movie's going to end, like usually in the first act, and just I don't know, I have a weird gift for that. In the proposition, I did not see where that was going at all, and I appreciate that. And I love movies that do that nowadays because it's hard to do because it seems like once everyone has a story structure and it gets just repeated over and over in Hollywood, and it's nice to find a film that you have no idea what's going to happen, and that's why I appreciated the Proposition more than 310. 310 is exactly like Kyle said. It was a big Hollywood movie, big budget, big actors, very clean looking for a Western, which we'll get into later. And just the writing was way better in Proposition.
All right.
The other thing too, I want to just say in terms of the writing, of all the like Christmas dinner scenes, and I know we have families, we've all had tense Christmas dinners before, but Jesus Christ, when she is like, let's be thankful for what we're about to receive, I'm just like, oh my God, I could not stand just the tension. I mean, sitting there watching it I didn't know what was going to happen and who was going to show up and what order they were going to and who was going to have bullets on them in a couple minutes. That was just a really well written scene, I thought, and I just absolutely loved it.
Is Nick Cave from Australia? Is he Australian?
Yeah.
Okay.
He is.
Well, this movie seemed like a hate letter to Australia because it's like by the three quarters of the way through, I was like, I wrote down, I get it, Australia sucks. Because it's just shot after shot of hot, sweaty, disgusting things, and these crazy white people who are hell bent on civilizing this rural kind of wasteland, and it just made me feel. And maybe that's what they were going for with the cinematography. We can get into that in directing, but just makes you feel worn out and like, God, how could anyone live here and deal with this?
Yeah, and I think that was one of the things I liked about the Proposition 2 is that it has a number of subtexts that it touches on, but aren't primary themes in the film. There's the whole racism thing, and there's the violence toward women, and those kinds of things are subtexts that are definitely there and play to that tension that we're talking about, but they're not the primary focus of the film, and I like that. I like that they can touch on those things, but not necessarily put it in your face.
Right, and it feels consistent. So to me, that's what really makes it feel good, is when it all feels like it exists in the same place and doesn't pull away from the main story or vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, Kyle, that was like deep.
Yeah.
I love movies
done.
I love movies that are tonally solid, where like you don't feel like it's trying to pull you in different directions. That's why I love Edgar Wright movies, man.
And it's not heavy.
They all feel
Yeah,
they feel like that. I love it.
I feel you feeling that.
Mm-hmm. You guys are making me like the Proposition more now that I talked about it.
All right, let's put it to a vote then. Tom.
I gotta go Proposition. Clearly.
All right. Tosh.
Yep, same.
Gabe.
Yeah, Proposition.
Kyle.
Just for Jane Fonda's improv, the Proposition.
Just a little bit of housekeeping. You may notice on the audio track while you're listening to this, it may sound like someone is torturing an infant. Don't worry, he's okay. He's with Mom. I didn't leave him outside with Sarge.
Thought I had that muted.
Like Tom said, the short story which 310 to Yuma is based on was published in a dime Western magazine in 1953. The action begins in the hotel room with a deputy sheriff guarding a 21-year-old robber. And Nick Cave finished the script for The Proposition in 3 weeks. That's pretty quick. I mean, he had to have had that in his head for a while. He couldn't have just sat down and said, crikey, I'm going to write a script. Is that right? No?
Pretty good.
Thanks.
Good.
Thanks.
Yeah.
That's
He's
not a
hated
knife.
Australia for a long time.
That's
and then
not
he
a
wrote movie
script.
about
This
it.
is a script.
Paul Hogan said that to one executive in his life.
All right. Sorry. I'm a little punch drunk. Let's move on to acting.
So 310, they kind of did. Let's hire some big name actors, and we'll put them in a Western. and we'll see what happens. And I usually like Russell Crowe in most things, and I love Christian Bale as Batman in American Psycho, but I don't know, they just didn't do it for me in 310. It seemed like Russell Crowe was playing Russell Crowe, and I just kept saying, man, he's just playing himself. It's not really. I don't know. It was a struggle for me. And then the opposite proposition, their acting was okay. I mean, they're greased up and looked the part, and I didn't really have a problem with them. The who played the let me look it up quick.
Who are you looking for?
Oh, Ray Winstone.
Oh yeah.
Oh God.
Captain. I don't think he did a really good job. I thought his part could have been better, honestly.
What?
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Let's do this right now. You are out of everyone that was in any of these movies, including like the townspeople who got shot. Ray Winstone was like the best actor out of all of them.
I don't know.
Yes, you do. You know I'm right on this one. Just
No,
give in to the.
No, I'm telling you right now, I thought the Proposition, they acted better than they did the 310. So I'm saying that Proposition was better, but I'm saying out of the whole group, I thought he was the weakest for me.
No,
personally.
he was the best. He was the best. You're using that word wrong.
No, I'm pretty sure. No, my dad's an English teacher. I'm using that word right. So he was the worst, but the cast was fine. I'm not saying that he was like the worst. He wasn't the worst actor of all time. I mean, he's no like. I don't know who's the guy who plays Hawkeye in Avengers. What's his name? Yeah.
Jeremy Renner.
Jeremy Renner.
Yeah. Fuck him. He's terrible. He's no Jeremy Renner, okay? But he's
wow. Can
But,
you feel the love tonight?
But Tom, why do you feel like he just carried the movie? Why do you feel that? I thought he was very wooden.
See, and I thought that I thought he get that struggle that. I mean, even we do on a much smaller, less life and death basis, but struggle between work and home. I mean, we'll talk about the set design stuff in a little bit and directing, but I thought that he really wanted to do his job, but he also wanted to protect his wife in this really savage land, and he felt by doing his job, he was protecting his wife. But the irony, of course, is that by doing his job, he's actually putting his wife in more danger. And I thought that constant struggle he was dealing with it just showed on his face and how difficult it was for him. I thought Guy Pearce was actually kind of wooden, which is weird because I usually love him and stuff. But it was just kind of like, well, I'm the main character, but I thought the guy that played Arthur Burns was really good. And I'm sorry, 310 to Yuma, I'm not a Russell Crowe fan. I'll tell you that right now. 310 to Yuma is my favorite Russell Crowe movie. So, because I think I like
him. You didn't like him in Beautiful Mind?
I thought it was like very transparent Oscar bait, and I don't have stomach for those movies that are just like, we're gonna win an Oscar from this because it's got all the little check marks that people love in the Oscars, and I didn't care for him in that, or Les Mis, or Gladiator even. I
Gladiator. Yeah, I'm not a fan either.
Oh.
But, I thought Beautiful Minds. I thought Beautiful Minds he was good, but
see, and
I love Gladiator, but I didn't think Russell Crowe was particularly good in Gladiator. But I agree with Tosh on the Beautiful Mind thing. I think he really was not Russell Crowe in that. I like Russell Crowe, kinda, I guess, but I do feel like he is kind of Russell Crowe in a lot of things. You know what I mean?
Do you know what it is? I like Russell Crowe when he's not trying. I like it when he's comfortable with the role. And I'm sorry, but Gladiator and Les Mis and Beautiful Mind, he's just trying too fucking hard.
Do you like him in L.A. Confidential?
I like him in L.A. Confidential. I like him in the Leonardo DiCaprio.
That's Russell Crowe, too, because he's going around beating people up.
Yeah.
That's not acting.
Well,
it's home.
I really liked him in Cinderella Man.
What's the DiCaprio spy movie?
The Nice
he was
Guys.
in. He was really good in that too. Oh, and Nice Guys. He was good in that too.
Yeah.
I like him when he's beating shit out of people, beating people up.
I liked him in American Gangsta. You remember that one with Denzel Washington?
Yeah, that's right. I remember that. Are you talking about no, not State of Play? What is it?
Yeah, State of Play.
State of Play. Okay.
Master and Commander was that was just him in a good movie.
Yeah, Master and Commanders. I think. I think it's underrated.
Oh,
I like.
You're right. It's not Snowplay. Body of Lies.
Body of Lies.
Body of Lies.
Okay.
That's a good one. Check it out. Yeah.
Is that the one where he's kind of like a soldier type thing?
He's
And
like
Meg
a
Ryan in that
CIA.
one?
He's like a CIA desk jockey, and Leonardo DiCaprio's the agent he's trying to like control and
I
get
don't think I've
information
seen
from.
that one.
It's a fun little Middle Eastern spy movie. It's pretty good.
Was he also in a movie called Proof of Life? Or
Oh,
is that
that's
someone
the
else
one.
I'm thinking
Oh
of?
yeah, that one's awful.
That's what I was thinking of.
That's Meg Ryan, right?
Yeah, Meg
Yeah,
Ryan.
yeah, that one's
Man,
Yeah.
playing 6 Degrees of Russell Crowe.
Fantastic.
So there are some crazy good actors in these movies spread across these two movies.
There are.
Man, it's hard. Russell, I'm with you guys on Russell Crowe. Well, mostly. I'm real hit or miss on him. I like him in some roles, and other roles I'm like, God damn, he just drives me crazy. And I felt like he was really kind of a weak link in 3:10 to Yuma. I love Christian Bale and everything. Like, I could watch him eat a peach for hours. Like him and Tom Hardy, those are like my two actors. I just give all the credit to, and I'll just watch them do whatever. And I like Gretchen Mol, and Ray Winstone was great. I mean, all the acting in The Proposition was pretty good. Oh, it's hard. It's hard to talk about these movies because you have so many. To me, you have a lot of talented actors, and it's who's doing the best job of portraying their characters and filling the role. And Russell Crowe really misses for me in 3:10 to Yuma. He just doesn't feel authentic. And boy, I don't know. I love Christian Bale, but I just didn't get into Russell Crowe in 3:10 to Yuma. But I like the acting in Proposition was a little bit slow in places, but I mean, man, just some really high class actors, like doing almost like Shakespearean tragedy in the desert.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I agree with Kyle that like tons of great actors in both of these movies, and I actually enjoyed the acting overall in both of these. You know, Russell Crowe isn't necessarily great, but I didn't think he was necessarily weak either. I thought, you know, he played the kind of, you know, cocky, you know, self-assured, you know.
He played himself.
He kind of did, but it worked. I thought. You know, I didn't think he had anything that was outstanding. Like, oh wow, that scene was, because he doesn't have much of a character arc. If you think about it, his character doesn't really change. It's more about Christian Bale's character, and it's more about his character going from kind of, you know, fearful and, you know, having no confidence to going, you know, beyond all of that and having the confidence to do what he set out to do, and he's going to do it at all costs, and obviously the cost of his life. And so his character has a much larger arc to me. And so his portrayal changes over time. And I thought I really liked Christian Bale in that part, and I thought he did a good job. And it's kind of a Christian Bale we're not used to seeing, where he's a little bit unsure of himself and he has to build himself up. And so, you know, I felt like it wasn't kind of like what we're used to, you know, in Christian Bale as Batman or, you know, John Connor or whatever.
Oh, good for you, mate. Sorry. I just go back to his rant. Sorry, go on.
What?
His rant on Terminator Salvation.
Oh,
yeah, you know, the leak
where he's
footage.
moving the light.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah. But then, you know, I thought the acting was fantastic in The Proposition. I thought everyone was really top notch, and I have to agree with Tom on the Ray Winstone thing. I think he's understated, but still portrays that stress that he's under. I think he's fantastic. Sexy Beast. He's incredible in that, and that's a great movie if you've never seen it. And I like Guy Pearce. I thought Guy Pearce was good in this, maybe a little subdued, maybe. And I really like Danny Houston in this role. I generally kind of don't like Danny Houston for some reason, but I thought this role was really just right for him. So I thought the acting, the ensemble overall for Proposition was just fantastic.
Can we all agree that Ben Foster is awesome and Logan Lerman kind of sucked? The guy that played Will.
Oh, yeah. Well,
yeah.
okay. Yeah,
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I can give you that. Who was?
I
What
really
was the
like
other
Ben
one?
Foster.
Ben
Oh,
Foster's
he's
pretty
great,
awesome.
man.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorite parts of the Thomas Jane Punisher movie.
Oh yeah, that's holy crap.
I really dug him in that movie.
Those
Totally
freaking
forgot he was
eyes of
in it.
his. My God.
You're talking Ben Foster?
Yeah.
Ben Foster, yeah.
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 Which
He
he's
was
in-
really good. He was the best part. Actually, I think he was the best part in the prop or in 310 to Yuma.
Yep.
He really was good because there was that whole kind of undertones of homosexuality or whatever, and he kept it really under control, but you could still see it. You could still sense it, and he was, and there was this kind of almost like pent up rage that he had, and you mentioned his eyes. That's where that rage came out through his eyes, and he was fantastic in 310.
Now, I need to mention real quick, there's a great character actor in 310, and that's Alan Tudyk. Like,
Yeah.
As a nerd,
Yeah, he's awesome.
I love Alan Tudyk. He's always right up there. I mean, he was K2SO, he was in Serenity, and I remember, Gabe, didn't you and I go see 310 in the theater?
Did we? Maybe.
Because
I
I remember
yeah,
thinking that
yeah,
Alan
you're right.
Tudyk was very much like you. I mean, the Doc, what was his name? Doc Potter. I was like, oh my God, it's Gabe,
Really?
Yeah. I remember telling you that.
Oh.
But I just wanted to mention Alan Tudyk. I like Alan Tudyk.
And his character at first seems kind of superficial, but then when he's trying to help them out and they're going through the tunnel and he gets shot and that kind of stuff at the end, you're like, oh man, it was really kind of like touching. It's
Not
like,
Doc Potter.
Yeah, I didn't want him to
Yeah.
die.
All right.
Yeah, he dies a lot.
He does. He does.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want that robot to die either.
Which one?
In Rogue One.
Oh,
Well, in Rogue One.
Spoiler. Jeez.
Oh,
man.
well, come on.
he was also
You
a
guys-
robot in iRobot. So that's why I said.
It's
you
only
were.
been
you-
out for 6 months. Jesus.
Have you guys seen Wreck-It Ralph?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think Alan's best work he's ever done is King Candy in Wreck-It Ralph. Yeah, I wish I had
No.
video of him performing it.
Yeah, that would be actually pretty awesome to see. That would.
I love Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah.
It's good. I wish they'd do a second one. Aren't they?
They are.
They are. Yeah.
They are.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, hey.
Okay,
You
let's move on to voting. Tosh,
Proposition.
Gabe.
This one's a little bit harder for me. I actually kind of enjoyed much of the acting in both. But I really felt like the strongest, most understated performances were in the Proposition. So I'm going to go with that.
Kyle.
I am actually going to go with 310 to Yuma.
Boo.
No, that's all right.
Streak. Break up the streak.
We don't need Cine agree here. Tom.
I forgot what category we're on, but I'll go
Acting.
with proposition. Proposition. It doesn't matter. Proposition.
All right. Well, we know how Tom's going all night.
I'm going with the proposition on that.
In the Proposition, Jellen Lamb has only 2 scenes: his introduction and his death. That's it. And 310 to Yuma. Where was it? Oh my God, I lost it. Sorry. Since Kyle talked about Peter Fonda by calling him different names,
Henry Fonda?
Yeah. Warned about the pain of surgery, Byron McElroy tells Doc Potter that it's not the first time he's been shot. In real life, Peter Fonda accidentally shot himself in the stomach when he was 10. So, there you go.
All right.
Wow, and he lived.
And he lived. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
There
Well,
you go.
Proves me wrong.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
You know Jane did it. You know that, right?
Probably.
He's just covering for Jane.
Yeah.
Old Hanoi Jane.
Oh, no, Jane, you can't turn your back on her. She shoots you in the stomach. Let's move on to directing.
Wait, what?
Yeah, how does she shoot you in the stomach if you turn your back?
That's right. She figures out a way. Let's go on to directing.
Are you saying Jane Fonda gives reach arounds?
Yes. Yes, I am. With a handgun.
Jane Fonda can bend bullets like Wanted.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's where they got it. Come on, guys.
That's what that movie was missing. Jane
Yes,
Fonda.
Jane Fonda. Kyle, you're up.
Oh god.
Oh, I'm up. What are we doing?
Directing.
What? I'm sorry, you cut out on me. What was it?
Directing.
Directing. Both these movies had directors.
All right. Thank you, Kyle.
Who's next? So I really like John Hillcoat. I'm a big fan of The Road, the Viggo Mortensen, The Road. Boy, my notes are failing me here. I don't know who directed 3:10 to Yuma, but he did a pretty good job. The cinematography in both these movies was really good for different reasons. 3:10 to Yuma looked very pretty, Hollywood Western. The Proposition looked very depressing and hot and sad, like it was meant to. But also showed some beautiful sides of Australia, just in the emptiness and openness of everything. I thought they got good performances out of all their actors for the most part. 3:10 to Yuma, I felt like there was more to that story that was unrealized. There were flashes of what I thought was really good stuff. One of the most effective scenes for me, and one I remember from seeing in the theater, is when this might be more of a more acting thing, but Christian Bale's telling Gretchen Mol he wished he would have lost his whole leg because they paid him by the pound for everything he lost in the war. And that was just heartbreaking to me. But man, I don't know. They're both. The Proposition definitely has a different style. 3:10 to Yuma is kind of slick, actiony, Western, tense, and obviously directed for the Hollywood. So there were a lot of differences between the two of these in this category, especially where we talk about in acting. Both movies had a lot of good actors in it. Most of them doing a very good job. Directing is very different on this because they look so different and they feel so different. I think they're both good in their own ways. I'm interested to see what you guys have to say. Nothing. Nobody has.
Okay. Go ahead, Gabe.
You covered it all.
Go ahead.
Tom needs to. I don't know. What were you going to do while I was talking?
Oh, find a recommendation.
Oh, you're going to look up your recommendation?
Yeah.
Is that what you're going to do? Or do you have to do...
I'm totally serious. I'm totally serious. I was doing it while Kyle was just talking. The problem is I needed a list of Westerns, so I Googled Best Western, and now for some reason I'm making hotel reservations.
Hotel, yeah. Where are you staying?
That's how it happens.
Yeah, I had the same problem in the 80s when I was Googling a former Mets player, and I ended up staying at a Howard Johnson. That's a joke like 3 people are going to get.
That's a homer.
That's a way homer.
Yeah.
I thought the directing on both of these was very competent. I think both of the stories are well told. I don't feel like. I think that the pacing for The Proposition is maybe a little bit slower, but I think maybe very intentionally because it builds that tension we've talked about. So I think I don't think either of these has a lot of extra. Extra stuff outside of what is necessary to tell these stories. I think the cinematography is very good for both. I think Kyle was right. One is a little glossier, a little more Hollywood, and the other one is a little more gritty. And that's kind of what to me. I like the idea of that grittiness in a Western. And one thing I don't think we've mentioned, and maybe we can save this for later, is that The Proposition is interesting in that it's on one level it's a Western, but it's set in Australia. And I'm not sure, because typically Westerns are set in the American West.
Quigley Down Under.
That's another interesting thing.
Quigley Down Under.
It's a Southern.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Quigley Down Under, Gabe. That's all I've got to say.
What's that?
Quigley Down Under.
Quigley Down Under. Okay. Yep. All right. It was at a show.
That's a Tom Selleck Australian Western.
Yes.
Magnum PI with boomerangs.
Yes, I kind of remember that a little bit. Yeah. I don't know how much we in this category, how much we put on kind of like previous work and experience and those kinds of things.
I was going to cover some of that.
Okay, well, and I won't cover it. I'll try to leave some of that for you. But James Mangold, who directed 3:10 to Yuma, has a number of really great films on his resume.
He has a number of shitty ones too, though.
Well, everyone probably does. You gotta you have your ups and downs.
That's true.
Whereas John Hillcoat, most of his work, it seems, has been in shorter pieces or music video types of things. Mm-hmm. Not that matters. That's great experience. Some of my favorite directors like David Fincher and that kind of thing have started out and continue to do that kind of work.
And Mick
so that
G,
doesn't really
your
necessarily
favorite director of all time.
What's that?
And Mick G, your favorite director of all time.
Yes.
Oh my God, yes. Kyle! I instantly when he said that, I thought Mick G.
Didn't he do a Charlie's Angels or something?
2 of them. Yeah.
Oh shit! They let him do another one.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, Gabe, to get that.
No worries. No worries. So I don't know how much we weigh their kind of resume in this category or not, or if we should
I don't think you do.
We just stick to what
make your own damn rules.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Whatever.
Oh,
Welcome to Gabe Smack.
Yeah. Gabe showed up. He decided he was gonna just take over the show.
Jeez.
Yeah. I do what I want.
Clearly.
Find Tom in my new podcast, Tall and Short, coming soon.
Still looking for a thin guy, if anybody knows anyone.
There, you can have Gabe. There you go.
Gabe, you are the most fit out of everyone here.
It's true.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but it sounds like maybe you're not all that excited about having me on the show. It's okay. I don't.
Oh my God! Wait 74 shows to hear that.
Gabe, you ignorant slut.
He finally gets the hint.
Sorry, go on,
Gabe.
Love you, Gabe.
I burned.
I know.
I burned my Mick G chunk on you, man. I can't use that in stand up now.
Yeah.
I burned it here on the podcast just for you.
You can use it.
Sorry, Gabe. Go on.
Okay.
Go on.
No, I was just saying, that James Mangold has a number of fine films on his resume.
He does.
Yeah, and I thought both of these actually were very competently directed. Nice cinematography, not a lot of fluff.
Right. Let's go through it here. James Mangold, Logan, the Wolverine, Vegas, the TV series pilot, and NYC 22 pilot, Night and Day, 3:10 to Yuma, Men and Trees pilot, Walk the Line, Identity, Kate and Leopold, Girl Interrupted, Copland, and Heavy. And John Hillcoat, let's see, Quarry, which was unaired pilot, Massive Attack, The Spoils, 999, Bob Dylan, Visions of Joanna. Like you said, Johnny Cash, You Used to Love Me a Lot, Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, I.O. Echo, Berlin, It's All a Mess, Lawless, Heroes Return, Red Dead Redemption, The Man from Blackwater, which was a short. Kyle mentioned The Road, Einsteck vom Himmel, Richard Ashcroft, The Proposition, Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds again, Depeche Mode, 3 shorts there, Goodnight Lovers, Free Love, and I Feel Loved, Digital Hardcore Videos, I don't know what that's about, Placebo, Don't Care About Us, Alleys and Motorways, To Have and to Hold, Ghosts of the Civil Dead, and The InXS, Swing and Other Stories, which was a documentary. That was his first thing in '85. But you have a good point. I mean, a lot of directors come out of music videos, commercial work, things like that. And I have not seen The Road. I've not seen Lawless. Has anyone else seen Lawless?
I have.
What'd you think of it?
That's the one with Tom Hardy, right?
That's correct.
Right. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan. I had Shia LaBeouf in it, I think, and I ruins it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I really had high hopes because, like I said, I'm a big Tom Hardy fan, but I didn't enjoy it that much. Most my John Hillcoat experience is pretty much Lawless and watching The Road, which I really enjoyed because it's my favorite book. But I thought he did a really good job with The Proposition. It's just I've never seen any Nick Cave music videos or NXS documentaries.
And if I have, I wouldn't.
I never knew who directed it. Well, he must have done a lot of cocaine in '85 to be with NXS. Holy shit!
I enjoyed Copland from Mangold. I mean, it was different from when I went into it. I was expecting something else. I guess I don't know what I was expecting, but I kind of enjoyed it. Girl Interrupted, I haven't seen. Identity, I liked Identity. I think I saw that as a free sneak preview. Walk the Line, of course, is great. 310 to Yuma. Night and Day's fun. The Wolverine, I thought, was way better than X-Men Origins, the first one. And then I have not seen Logan. I know Kyle has. And I hear from a lot of people that it's very good. But, I mean, we can't judge them on their previous work, or we just got to judge them on these films, Gabe. So there you go.
Okay, whatever.
Sorry, man. You can talk about how much you like them and stuff, but...
Yeah. Well, and then speaking of Logan, I have not yet seen Logan either, and I am anxious to. But I also saw that they're releasing a black and white version of Logan, which seems really interesting to me. It seems pretty cool. And supposedly the black and white version will also be available on the discs, the Blu-ray and DVD.
Oh, cool.
So,
all right. Anyone have anything else, Tom, Tosh?
Yes, I have stuff to say. So,
we will listen.
One of the things that I liked in The Proposition was the scene design and the production design, particularly the way that they the stuff they did around the what the hell was his name? Stanley's house. Just that idea of that they had that fence up and the real manicured and landscaped. I mean, Jesus, how hard it must have been to get anything to grow there, and that they were, that this was their own little piece of Australia, and they had their fence up and they were keeping people out, and they could control what was going on right here. And when I saw that and what they were doing with it, I was like, well, I have an idea the movie's going to end inside, because obviously that world is going to encroach on theirs. And so when Arthur's gets shot and he goes busting through the fence and everything, it's all this really cool metaphor for the Stanleys and their struggle with the Wild West. And I thought that was very commendable, and it was extremely well thought out and not hit you over the head so much that it was very obvious. So, but I just wanted to mention that because that was something I really liked about Proposition. Stunned silence.
Yes.
I really enjoyed that breakdown, Tom. I really did.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Tosh, anything?
No, Tom stole my thunder, and for word for word, I was going to say the exact same thing. Good job.
Oh shit, you were going to talk about the garden too. Damn, sorry.
Good job, Tosh. I liked yours too.
Sorry, your text just came through. Don't talk about the garden, asshole. Sorry.
I spent an hour writing about the garden. It was going to be beautiful. And then he just stole the thunder like normal.
Yep.
You and your damn little man disease.
All right. Let's go ahead and vote. Kyle.
Oh, you guys are talking me into liking The Proposition. I didn't like it when I first watched it. What are you guys doing? I'm going to vote for 310 to Yuma.
All right.
I'm laughing while I do it.
I'm not even asking Tom. Tosh.
Proposition.
Gabe.
Yeah, like I said before, I think both of these were very competently directed. They're both well done. I'm having a hard time too. I think I'm going to go with Proposition as well.
Wow. All right. In The Proposition, neither Captain Stanley.
Do I get to vote?
No, I already counted yours. I already know what it's going to be. Okay, Tom.
I had a sum up comment, fuckface.
Okay. Go ahead.
I do want to give credit to James Mangold because I thought the action scenes in 310 to Yuma were really well done, and sometimes those get really poorly done. And I thought there was never a moment where I'm like, what the fuck is going on? But they were done really well, but I'm voting for the other movie.
Which I already had you down for. All right. In the proposition, one of the gunmen in the Burns fort at the beginning is named Jack Bradshaw. Although the movie's plot was fictitious, there had been a real 19th century Australian bushranger outlaw by that name. And I'm sorry, I'm running out of trivia. If you start watching 310 to Yuma at 1:20 p.m., the train will arrive at 3:10 p.m. real time. There you go. Let's move on to overall.
I actually want to start by asking Kyle a question.
I'm
You
all
said-
ears.
You just said,
Ooh,
that-
Gabe, this is so
What?
sudden. You're a handsome man. It is 2017,
will
and I'm
you
a
marry me,
progressive
Kyle?
kind of guy.
Yeah.
You will definitely be the most beautiful person I've ever
Is
slept
this
with.
a proposition?
Hold on, I can hear Heather out here. Oh shit, she's staring at me.
We'll save that question for kind of a private moment, Kyle, when we're alone together.
Okay.
However, I have
okay,
a question. You said that you didn't like the proposition when you first saw it,
Right.
but we're kind of convincing you maybe otherwise. What was it that you didn't necessarily like about it?
So it's one of those movies I kind of watched when I was in a bad mood to watch a movie like that, and it kind of took over my viewing of it. It felt a little boring to me and slow when I first watched it, but it was one of those things that after it sat for a while, I saw more value in it and thought more about what I'd actually seen. And when I hear you, I watched these movies quite a while ago, and when I hear you guys kind of describe some of these things, it just jogs my memory of it being much stronger than I initially watched it. And I think maybe a little bit of it was, I'm not a Nick Cave fan. I'm not necessarily a fan of the music in the movie. And it kind of went, it bridged scenes together and had that recurring song that just kind of got on my nerves. But the more I listen to you guys talk about it, the more I remember watching it and picking up more of the things now, kind of jogging my memory. And it's putting it in a better light in my mind.
Interesting. Yeah, because I think my initial first impression of it was that I did like it. And in part because it was a little bit different from it was different from the Hollywood kind of blockbuster type westerns that you see, kind of like what we've been talking about with 310 to Yuma. And it was grittier, it was darker, it was violent, but all with a purpose. It wasn't just kind of randomly so. And I think my first impression of it was like, oh, I really like this because it's a lot different from what I'm used to. I don't know.
It's a very different type of Western. And especially against 310 to Yuma, which is a Hollywood blockbustery type Western. It's very sparse and kind of slow and full of tension. And yeah, I think it's a more difficult movie to wrap your mind around than something like 310 to Yuma, which is in like a pretty package and delivered for you. Yeah.
Well, one of the things I like about the Western genre, as well as sci-fi, is that I think it provides fertile ground for exploring moral dilemmas. It creates situations that we're not used to seeing in our day-to-day lives that take us out of that day-to-day living and puts us in situations that we might not be ready for. And that's one of the things I liked about the proposition. It sets us up for that kind of moral dilemma. But it doesn't seem out of place. It doesn't seem forced. And that's what I personally like about Westerns. Many of them do that. In my opinion, they set up that kind of moral dilemma, and then we watch these characters try to deal with it. Obviously his dilemma was like, what am I going to do? I have two brothers, and they're very, very different from each other, and I have the opportunity to try to protect one, but in order to do that, I have to kill the other. Who wants to be in that situation? And that's one of the things about the proposition in particular and westerns in general that draws me to those kinds of films.
Part of the problem I have with westerns is that they have this wide open space and no boundaries, and the laws are fuzzy, and so it gives the screenwriter and the director this opportunity to just kind of tell a story in this wide open space without the hindrances of laws and morals and ethics, with shady characters that run from good to black and all the in-betweens. The westerns that I really like, and the propositions kind of like this, are the ones that make me feel that, like 3:10 to Yuma was so slick. The West wasn't slick. I mean, it was dusty and it was dirty, and I imagine taking a dump was a challenge for everyone at the time. And so it's just that's what I want to feel when I watch a Western, is just the hardship of it. And some directors just take it as this open canvas to paint their story on, but there are rules. There are things you can and can't do in the Old West just by the nature of it being the Old West. And those are the Westerns that I really like. So that's kind of why I'm leaning towards the proposition, because it really took that into context. You still have to deal with the problems of time and space. And those are the Westerns that I really like that confront that.
That when you said that, Tom, that immediately made me think of Unforgiven. And that's one of the things I like about Unforgiven, is because it's gritty, it's unpleasant, it's it's not pretty and slick like 3:10 to Yuma.
Right. Absolutely. Stunned silence.
Again. You're stunning us.
I'm still reeling from the garden getting taken away from me. I'm lost right now.
He's been
Mike. Can you edit
through his notes frantically?
Mike, can you edit out what I said, or take my voice and make it sound a little annoying, and then we'll just credit it to Tosh?
Oh, okay. So more annoying than it is. Gotcha.
Is that possible?
I'm sorry. It was a joke. No, you got a good point. Like, if you watch some of the Westerns from, not all of them, but a lot of them from the 60s and 70s, everything's clean. People, or even the 50s too, they wear bright colors. And that's just not the way it was. And I like the grittiness, because that's the way the Old West was. It wasn't sunshine and lollipops. It was everyone's gray. I mean, we live in a world of grays. We don't live in a world of black and white. It's all about the grays. And I think, I can't remember which one of you brought it up, but in the proposition, you definitely see a lot more gray in that world than you do in 3:10. But I mean, 3:10 does have some gray in it. I mean, some of the characters aren't as bad as you think they are, and some aren't as good as you think they are. But it's still, I think we're comparing kind of a larger budgeted film to more, I wouldn't say an independent, but something that looks more independent, feels more independent. And sometimes, the four of us being independent filmmakers, we kind of lean towards that. So that's my
Fair
2
enough.
cents.
Well said.
All right. Anyone want to add anything else? Do you want to talk about any of the music? Do you guys?
Were the flies real in the proposition, or are they
As opposed to
CGI?
what?
CGI.
I'm guessing they were real.
I bet that would have been really annoying.
Yeah.
Not changed. When Gabe and I did our first 48 hours, we did a Western, and we were in the middle of this forest wood area, and there was flies all over us for 5-6 hours. So I felt bad for these actors in that video. I'm like, I know how that feels. It sucks.
It was terrible. It was very terrible.
Terrible flies.
Yeah.
The proposition doesn't look like it'd be fun to film, period.
No.
It looks so hot and dry.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine
terrible.
acting in that. And just now act. I'm like, fuck you. I just want to drink a water.
Right.
Imagine what it was like to try to settle it. Oh, God. Oh, terrifying. As a lazy, fat, straight white man, I have no interest in settling a foreign country.
Fair enough. All right.
Good to know. Good to know.
Yeah. Don't send.
So you guys
note
don't have to worry
self.
about me annexing anything.
Note
I have
to
no
self.
plans for politics. This podcast would rule me out of any election, anyways.
No, there's another
that's where-
podcast
That's
would rule
definitely
you out.
another podcast.
That's where they get their name from, though. They go, good enough, and that's why they're called settlers.
Yeah. It'll do.
Once every episode, Tom, you make me laugh with great joy at one of your very simple jokes.
I've been saving that one for you, Kyle.
The Gerard Depardieu still is
I forgot about that one.
I bronzed that
so
one.
good. So good.
Thank you.
It actually flipped the voting in your favor, too, which is still one of my
I've
favorite
listened to that
moments.
show 12 times.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I can't. You listen to me again? I'm sorry, man.
No, the French Kiss Forget Paris episode was fantastic.
It was good stuff.
I'll know from there.
Let's pat ourselves on the back more.
Yeah, we're awesome.
There you go. All right. Let's move on. Let's vote. Gabe.
Proposition.
Tosh.
Proposition.
Tom.
Proposition. I was going to do 310 to Yuma and throw you off, but
Yeah, you weren't.
That would be-
Kyle.
yeah.
In this case, I'm going to vote for the movie in the world I'd most like to live, and I'd probably make it further in 310 to Yuma than the proposition.
There you go. All right. Oh God, I've run out of trivia. Neither Captain Stanley nor Jill and Lamb kill anybody or even fire their guns throughout the whole movie, despite being a policeman and a bounty hunter, respectively. And I got nothing. I already did that one. Already did that one. Eric Bana was in initial negotiations to star opposite Tom Cruise in 310 to Yuma.
What?
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Tom Cruise was he going to play the son?
Oh, they'd have to put his horse up on apple boxes, right?
I don't think there would have been enough running for him in that movie. He was going to be running.
Right. He wouldn't ride a
Shoot the
horse. He would
horse.
just run everywhere.
Run at full speed.
All right. Let's go ahead and I'll kick off the recommendations since I have to do math as soon as I find it here. And I'm pretty sure, I think one of us had already talked about this, but I'm going to do it anyway. So I have a movie here that has Russell Crowe, who's in one of our films. And yeah, that's it. It's a Western. It has Lance Henriksen, which ties in the next. No, it doesn't. He doesn't show up till the second one. Lance Henriksen, Gary Sinise, Kevin Conway, Leonardo DiCaprio, Gene Hackman, and Sharon Stone. Anyone want to take a guess?
Forrest Gump.
Quick and the Dead.
No. Yes,
Quick and
Tom,
the Dead?
you're right. Quick and the Dead. I like this film. I don't know why. It's kind of campy. I think that's why I like it. Directed by Sam Raimi, who, as many of you know, did the 2001 Spider-Man. I think it was 2001. And, of course, did one of my favorite movies of all time, The Evil Dead 2, and Army of Darkness. So check out The Quick and the Dead. It's a fun little take on a Western. Once again, it's not as dirty and gritty as you would hope, but it has a very, I mean, looking at some of these pictures now, it was done in 95. And I mean, DiCaprio looks like he is still in grade school. And Russell Crowe looks like he just graduated high school. But anyway, check out The Quick and the Dead. So let's move on to... Who wants to go?
I'll go.
All right.
I'll go. Damn it.
Kyle.
Sorry, man. I don't want to take your recommendation like Tom took your garden speech. Speaking of gritty, dusty westerns, I'm going to recommend a TV show, Deadwood. If you've never watched it, watch that shit.
Son of
It
a
is.
Very nice.
Oh, did I really take it?
bitch. No.
It is disgusting, terrible Western wrapped in Shakespearean prose, and it is Ian McShane may play one of my favorite characters I've ever seen in my life in Elsewhere Engine, and I can tolerate Timothy Olyphant in it. So check it out.
Did you see that? Did you see that they? Who's the creator of that show? He just turned it.
David Milch.
Yeah, he just turned in the script.
Yep. Just
Yeah,
turned
Dan, the guy who played Dan Doherty, read it and said it was stunning. They're writing a script for a Deadwood film.
Yeah, to kind of put an end
fun
to
fact, that guy, David Milch, wrote Bad Boys to pay for a plane ticket home after he lost money on a horse race, and it was supposed to be John Lovitz and Dana Carvey.
Yep. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yes,
that's who he had in mind when he was writing it, or something.
No, originally that's who was set to star in it.
We're talking Will Smith and
Will Smith and
Martin Lawrence.
Martin Lawrence.
Martin Lawrence.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, I think he tells that story on Dinner of Five with Jon Favreau, and it's oh my god, it's hilarious.
All right,
Interesting.
Yeah, good pick. I just recently watched Deadwood. I think it was last year sometime. I finally was able to catch up with it. And you're right, Elsewhere Engine is fantastic. One of the most complicated characters on TV. Let's move on to Tosh.
My recommendation is There Will Be Blood by Daniel Day-Lewis. Stars in this as he's starts as a silver miner and then discovers there's great profit in oil, and him and his son have some hardships, and they kind of move out to the west to look for oil, and I kind of thought that fell in the western category. But if you like sugar-coated movies or formula movies, do not go to this movie at all because you'll hate it. But I enjoy it just because of that. It's very, very slow-paced, but very good story, and the characters are freaking awesome. And it's Daniel Day-Lewis, for God's sake. So check it out. There Will Be Blood.
All right. Thanks, Tosh.
Nice.
I'm trying
That's a good pick. That's a good pick.
That is a good pick. Didn't we do that?
We did.
I think we did.
Yeah. I was trying to look it up while he was
Pre-Tosh.
talking. Yeah, pre-Tosh.
I apologize. I apologize to the Cinesmack listeners that I just recommended a film that they already reviewed. I apologize. But the 10 people that come with me to film the podcast, go watch it.
I thought one of the prerequisites was Tosh was going to listen to every single show we've done up till now, and Kyle too. I thought that was the deal.
Oh yeah, that was the deal, wasn't it? Oh.
Kyle,
I don't even listen to these now.
Kyle and I split them, and he got There Will Be Blood. So I apologize.
Yeah, we did.
Sorry, guys.
We did. There Will Be Blood versus Citizen Kane.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh shit! What's that? Like 8 hours of movie?
No,
Citizen Kane's not even 2 hours.
No.
Yeah, they're not that.
There Will Be
long.
Blood's like really long, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like almost 3.
Yeah, but that made me. There Will Be Blood. Daniel Day-Lewis. Oh my God, just choose to
It's
see.
terrifying.
Yeah, that's a movie in the last 20 years probably.
Yeah, that's
One of them.
You've never
Yeah.
seen Mac and Me.
Mac and Me was more than 20 years. I
It
know
was.
what I'm talking
shit.
It
about.
was. Tom.
I'll have to share a theory with you guys about how I've always loved the B level of everything. It's pretty interesting going through my life. But we can tell that off the air.
No, please go ahead. Hold on, Tom.
Oh Lord. Okay. So I never, as a kid, I never liked the popular things. I always liked the shitty knockoffs. So I never liked Transformers, but I thought GoBots were cool, and I liked Micronauts. I never saw E.T., but I loved Mac and Me. I never saw any old Alien movies or Close Encounters of the Third Kind, but I loved Flight of the Navigator. So just like any knockoff or low-level version, that was the version I grew up with and loved.
Kyle, I think we had the same childhood. I really do. I love Flight of the Navigator.
Flight of the Navigator's great.
I
love
bought
that
the
movie.
DVD. We bought the DVD off Amazon. I don't know. It was like 2 months ago, so I could show it to my kids. It doesn't age well. It does not.
Oh, that not.
Oh man, I'm sure it doesn't.
Well,
Pee Wee Herman, though, he's strong in it. Strong as always.
Close Encounters doesn't age well either. I mean, you look at
Not
some
really,
of the but it's still a good movie. Sorry.
Did you see the Explorers with
Yes.
Explorers with Ethan Hawke and
Yes.
River Phoenix?
Yes.
I watched that with my kids Friday night, and I was just like, there's aliens at the end. Trust me, they're going somewhere with this.
Where they make a spaceship out of junk, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I like the Explorers. Yeah. We're going off on a tangent. Do you guys remember the Dirt Bike Kid? Tom or Gabe?
No, I remember Rad, but I don't remember Dirt Bike Kid.
Yeah, there was a
Oh
movie
my
called
God, Rad! That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
there's
I've
Rad,
thought that forever.
the Dirt Bike Kid. What was it? 90s Gleaming the Cube.
Gleaming the Cube.
I love Gleaming the Cube.
Yeah.
I can't find that movie anywhere.
Didn't they change? Was that the one they changed the name of?
It might have been.
There was one Christian Slater movie that came out titled something, and they changed the name like way later down the line. I can't remember what I'm thinking of.
The Boy Who Could Fly.
What's a Google?
You guys
Boy Who
remember
Could
the Boy Who Could Fly?
Oh my God! He jumps off the roof.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's see what else. Cloak and Dagger.
Yep.
I've had a lot of time to think during feedings. There was one that had the same kid from Cloak and Dagger, and he finds this supposed monster in a lake, but it's just an old steam shovel, and I'm trying to remember the name of the damn thing, and I can't. But anyway, yeah, I just thought I'd bring up the Dirt Bike Kid and Gleaming the Cube once Kyle started talking about that stuff. So Tom, your recommendation.
So I got a great Western. I feel like I've not recommended this before, but is the 2007 movie, The Assassination of Jesse James by the Coward Robert Ford. It is, I really like Unforgiven, but this is my favorite Western. It is the most beautiful Western you have ever seen. And that's saying a lot because Western films are notoriously just beautiful to look at. But the cinematography by Roger Deakins just absolutely takes your breath away. It does run 2 hours and 40 minutes, which in my opinion is a little short for what they try to tell. There's very lengthy sections of silence and quiet music. And I mean, it doesn't move very quickly, but apparently there's a 4.5 hour version out there.
Oh my God.
Like a director's cut that I am dying to see just because I want to see more of Deacon's work mostly. But it's got Brad Pitt, Casey Affleck, Mary Louise Parker, Sam Rockwell, and some guy named Jeremy Renner. So check it out. He's not in it a lot. Don't see, now I feel bad because now you're not going to watch it. But it's amazing. It's absolutely beautiful film. It's done really, really well. So Assassination of Jesse James by the Robert Coward Ford. The movie title is almost as long as the movie itself.
Yeah.
Now, I think you have recommended it because I remember talking about someone doing the Yogi Bear and Boo Boo ending to that movie. Yes.
Yeah, shit. I did recommend this before. I stopped updating my recommendations
That's
list.
all right.
I feel bad, but I don't have any other westerns to recommend because
That's all
I'm
right.
not a big western fan. Watch The Shootist because John Wayne actually dies. Oh fuck! I just ruined it. Watch The Shootist.
All right. Gabe.
Well, I'm gonna recommend.
Thanks, Gabe.
What? Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna recommend. I don't know. I'm gonna recommend what I consider kind of a western in space.
Oh boy.
I'm gonna recommend the TV show Firefly. If you've
Yeah.
never seen it, it's really a fun show, and I don't know why it got canceled. I thought it was really enjoyable, and I thought it was a really interesting kind of combination of sci-fi and western. And it was I just felt it was enjoyable. And Alan Tudyk is in it.
That's right.
And
plays
he's one of my
Wash.
favorite characters in it. Yes. So there is another connection there. I thought he was great in that show. So if you've never seen Firefly, I would recommend it. And it's not hard to get through because I think there were only something like 3 seasons or something.
Oh, not even that. Was there?
What was it? I don't know if they made it. I know there's at least 2, but I don't remember if they made it to 3. And then there's the movie related to it called Serenity, which is also actually pretty enjoyable. So I would recommend checking it out if you've never seen it.
There are 15 episodes.
Is that it? Really?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't remember it being so few.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really it was really disappointing that it didn't go further because personally I enjoyed it a lot. There was a lot of interesting stuff in it, and the characters were all very likable, and it was a fun show. And I actually thought for a TV show they were pushing kind of the envelope for visual effects as well.
Mm-hmm.
They had some pretty cool visual effects of the ships flying and the stuff where the camera wasn't necessarily steady and it would shift focus and things that you wouldn't normally see in those kinds of shows. And I enjoyed it a lot. It's too bad it didn't go further.
Well, it was created by Joss Whedon. It brought Nathan Fillion onto the scene. Gina Torres, not Gina Torres. Who am I thinking of? Marina Baccarin is Deadpool's girlfriend. You got Summer Glau.
She was very enjoyable in Firefly as well.
Yeah, Adam Baldwin, who's great. He plays Jane.
Hilarious.
Yeah, if you guys haven't seen it, check out Firefly. I'm with you there, Gabe.
Yeah.
You guys all have great recommendations this month. Good job. All right, let's poke the monkey, find out who won.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Your winner by decision is the Proposition!
That's a little more lopsided than I expected it to be.
Same here.
Yeah, I actually enjoyed them both quite a bit. But I think the voting was valid. Although I may start an investigation into the voting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think there may have been some illegal votes.
Some
there.
Australian influence, maybe.
Yes.
Oh boy! All right.
Are you insinuating that because Tom and I voted the same way for the first time ever in podcast history?
Yeah, I think we had the unholy alliance tonight on the podcast.
Well, if you check out our Tall Short podcast, we talk about how we're going to vote for this podcast. So check it out.
So can you guys tell me who funded your Tall and Short podcast and why you guys both have matching didgeridoos?
Tom, you want to take that one?
Oh my God, Kyle! When they posted that on Facebook and Twitter,
right? I thought they were just big bongs,
right? Oh my God, you're right. This is a conspiracy. We have to do this whole episode over.
Gold-plated didgeridoos.
Dude, you guys shut up. This goes all the way to the top.
All of a sudden, we just hear a gunshot behind Kyle.
Kyle,
can anybody name, without Googling it, the president or whoever it is of Australia?
Yes, Paul Hogan.
You are correct.
Thank you.
Good answer.
We have already apologized to the people of Australia twice on this podcast. I think we need to cut our losses.
Good day, mate.
Oh, I've
Didgeridoo.
seen you played Knifey Spoony before. I also would have accepted that Australian golfer guy who was popular for a while.
Arnold Palmer?
That's the one. Your golf.
Sorry. All right.
That also Hogan?
Yes, that's also
I think that's the only family name in Australia. Their family tree doesn't branch.
All right.
So it's like a telephone.
Tom, you better start writing another apology letter to another country. Speaking of,
they're gonna have to get in line behind Canada and France.
All right, Tom, where can people find you and stalk you? Yeah, why not?
People can stalk me on. I'm on Twitter now, but I'm mostly just kind of liking stuff. But on Facebook, there's our wedding page, and then my personal page, and then the Cheshire Moon page. If you want to stay on updates on the new animated short that we're currently working on, that I'm very excited about. Other than that, people can usually find me escorting criminals to the nearest train station while eating the most delicious turkey that Australia has ever seen.
Nice. How is the animated short going?
It's going fine. I'm on that storyboard thing, and judging from your Facebook post from a week ago, you get what I'm getting at. It's just, why the hell do my storyboards look so bad? And
ask Kyle how bad my storyboards look.
We shall have a competition for bad storyboards.
Mark and Ben have been awesome. They're just like, stick figures, dude. It's totally cool. And I'm like, no, I want to frame these.
Right. I wish I could draw so bad. I can't.
Nope.
And I mean, I guess you can't do it the way that I've learned how to do it. I mean, you can't do it since it's animated. But I started taking my phone with me and actually framing the shots and taking photos. That's what I did for Up on the Rooftop. It helped out a lot.
Oh, I could still do that and just have realistic backgrounds for the animators to see.
Yeah, there you go. Tosh.
You can find me on the Twitter. Just search for Tosh Dillinger. And I guess I'm banned from Outback Steakhouse after this episode, so a little down about that.
Yeah, sorry, Tosh. Gabe?
It's all right.
You can find me on Facebook, and you can also check out some of our films on onegenomeshort.com.
And Kyle?
I guess you could find me on Facebook if you want. I don't have a Twitter or Instagram or any of that other shit. And I'm all out of Australian jokes. So back to you.
All right. And you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. If you want, just search Mike Keeler. You'll find me. And I'm not set. All right. We would appreciate it if you could leave us a review on iTunes or whatever podcasting service you use. You can contact us at cinesmack@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Just search Cinesmack. And for May, no one can hear you scream as Alien takes on Predator to see if it bleeds. You can kill it. For Kyle, Tom, Gabe, Tosh, and myself, thanks for listening, and go catch a flick.
I am the Tootinist.
This has been a test of the Southsider Studios podcast system. This was only a test. If this were a true lack of entertainment, your head would explode. Go to iTunes and subscribe to our feed. Just search Southsider Studios.